What if that chronic feeling of not fitting in isn't a social defect, but the reactivation of an essential function? What if your soul isn't lost, but is answering a call the world has forgotten how to make? In this journey, we will conduct an archaeological dig of the soul to discover if you carry the blueprint of the oracle, the circuitry of the shaman, or the gravity of the mystic. Have you ever felt you perceive a layer of reality that others simply ignore? We live in an age of noise, not just the noise of traffic or television, but a deeper, more pervasive hum. It is the psychic static of endless information, of constant productivity, of the optimization of every waking moment. It is the subtle, ever-present pressure to be more, do more, and share more. This relentless static creates an environment that is fundamentally hostile to the soul's native language, which is spoken not in words, but in whispers, in feelings, in silences, and in the resonant stillness between breaths. The roles that once formed the very heart of human communities, the oracle, the shaman, the mystic, were not professions. They were states of being, cultivated in the quiet soil of introspection. The oracle needs silence to perceive the subtle patterns of fate. The shaman requires stillness to feel the interconnected web of all life. The mystic seeks solitude to dissolve into the embrace of the divine. These sacred functions were not lost to history. They were simply drowned out. They were deemed inefficient in a world that worships speed and unprofitable in a culture that values the material over the meaningful. And so, if you have felt like an outsider, if you have found the world to be too loud, too harsh, too demanding, consider this. Your feeling of strangeness is not a sign of your own faulty reception. It is proof of your sensitivity. Your internal receiver is not broken. It is, in fact, a high-fidelity instrument, picking up on the distressing noise that most have been conditioned to ignore. The sociologist Sherry Turkle gave our modern paradox a name. She called it being alone together. In an age of unprecedented digital connection, we suffer from an epidemic of profound isolation. This isn't a new phenomenon, but rather the peak of a century-old condition the great thinker Emile Durkheim identified as anomie, a state of spiritual disorientation that arises when a society's core values and sources of meaning crumble away, leaving its people adrift. And here lies a profound truth. The spiritual awakening that is surging across the planet today is not a trend. It is an immune response. Pushed to its limit by the static and the anomie, the collective soul is beginning to reactivate its dormant agents. It is seeking out those sensitive enough to carry a new signal, to become the broadcasters of a deeper truth in an age that desperately needs to remember how to listen. Let us now examine the first archetype of the inner council, the oracle. When we hear this word, we often picture a mysterious figure predicting a distant, unchangeable future. But this is a profound misunderstanding. The true oracle is not a fortune teller. The oracle is an architect of perception. Imagine reality as a grand, intricate building. Most of us only see the finished walls, the floors, the ceilings. We experience the effects. But the oracle is wired differently. They are born with an innate ability to see the blueprint behind the walls. They perceive the invisible architecture of cause and effect, the hidden patterns of energy, and the subtle currents of probability that flow beneath the surface of everyday life. Their primary tool is not logic, but a highly refined intuition. This intuition functions like a form of psychic ultrasound, sending out a quiet signal of inquiry into the world and interpreting the echoes that return. This is how an oracle can enter a room and instantly feel the unspoken tension, or meet someone and sense the history they carry, or look at a situation and grasp its inevitable trajectory. They are reading the resonance, not the facts. For centuries, the oracle at Delphi was the most revered source of wisdom in the ancient world. The Pythia, a priestess, would enter a sacred chamber and deliver cryptic pronouncements that shaped the course of empires. For a long time, modern society dismissed this as mere superstition. But recent archaeological investigations, led by figures like John R. Hale, have offered a stunning revelation. They discovered that the temple was built over a geological fault line that likely released ethylene gas, a substance known to induce trance-like states. This does not debunk the oracle's power. It grounds it. It reveals a lost science. The ancients were not naive. They were sophisticated spiritual engineers who understood how to use the very chemistry of the earth as a key to unlock the doors of perception and access non-local information. Today, neuroscience is beginning to map this same territory. When your mind is quiet, during moments of daydreaming or deep introspection, a specific neural network becomes active. It is called the default mode network, or DMN. This is not the brain being off. It is the brain at its most creative, weaving together past, present, and future, making astonishing connections far from the grasp of your conscious mind. Those sudden flashes of insight, those inexplicable downloads of information you receive, they can be understood as powerful, coherent signals emerging from this very network. They are the whispers of the oracle within you. An architect sees the blueprint behind the walls. The oracle in you sees the currents of cause and effect behind the events. So I ask you, do you often just know things without a logical explanation for how you know them? Do you feel the likely outcome of a situation not as a thought, but as a certainty in the pit of your stomach? If so, you may be feeling the stirring of your own inner oracle, remembering its ancient and sacred function. Now we turn to the second great archetype of the soul, the shaman. This is perhaps the most misunderstood of the three. Forget the stereotypes of cinema. The essence of the shaman is not found in rituals or remedies, but in a profound living perception. The shaman is the technician and guardian of what can be described as the energetic internet of all life. Imagine a luminous, invisible network connecting every tree, every stone, every animal, and every human heart. The shaman does not just believe this network exists, they feel it. They experience it as a tangible reality. Their renowned sensitivity is not a vulnerability. It is a highly calibrated diagnostic system, allowing them to feel the flow of life force through this cosmic web. They can sense where the connection is strong and where it has been frayed or broken. Their purpose is to mend this sacred circuitry, to restore balance and flow where there is stagnation and disease. Historically, the path to becoming a shaman often began with what anthropologists call an initiatory illness. This was not seen as a common sickness, but as a profound spiritual crisis. The individual would be plunged into a state of physical or psychological turmoil that brought them to the edge of death and back. From our modern lens, this looks like a breakdown. But from the shamanic perspective, it is a forced system reboot. It is a process designed to purge the malware of social conditioning and cultural static, dismantling the false self, so that the soul can reconnect directly to the hardware of the earth and the cosmos. Today, we can see this ancient process reflected in the crucible of spiritual awakening. That feeling of your life being taken apart, that period of intense struggle and disorientation, it is the modern echo of this powerful initiation. And now, science is beginning to catch up to this ancient wisdom. The Benson Henry Institute at Harvard Medical School has spent decades studying what they call the relaxation response. They have proven that by entering deep states of meditation and mindfulness, we can literally change which of our genes are expressed. We can switch off the genes that create inflammation and stress, and switch on the genes responsible for cellular repair and immunity. The shaman, without the language of genetics, is an intuitive master of inducing this state. They are a practitioner of psychoneuroimmunology, using intention, sound, and connection to guide the body's own intelligence back to its natural state of healing. For the one who carries the shaman circuit, being in nature is not simply leisure. It is like connecting a laptop directly to the central server. It is where they clear their cache, update their data, and recharge their energy. So reflect on your own experience. Does the suffering of an animal or a plant affect you on a personal, almost physical level? Do you feel lighter, clearer, and more yourself in a deep forest or by the sea, and drained or overwhelmed in a crowded mall? Do people, even strangers, seem to naturally open up to you, sharing their burdens as if your very presence grants them a safe harbor to heal? This may be the shaman's current flowing through you. Finally, we arrive at the third and most inward-facing archetype, the mystic. While the oracle reads the architecture of reality and the shaman repairs its energetic circuits, the mystic is consumed by a different, singular desire. They are not here to interpret the map or fix the machinery. They are here to merge with the map maker, to dissolve into the very source of the machine. The mystic feels a constant, gentle, yet relentless gravitational pull toward the absolute. It is an inner ache, a sacred homesickness for a state of being that cannot be named. They are not seeking to escape the world, but to experience its fundamental truth so completely that the illusion of being a separate self, a fragile ego adrift in the cosmos, simply falls away. Their path is one of radical interiority. This is the path of non-duality, a truth echoed in countless traditions. It is often described with the metaphor of a drop of water returning to the ocean. But a more accurate description for the mystic's journey is the moment the ocean realizes it is not just the vast water, but also the single drop, experiencing itself from a unique and precious point of view. It is not an annihilation of self, but an infinite expansion of it. Neuroscientists at leading institutions like Johns Hopkins and Imperial College London have begun to chart this territory. While studying profound mystical experiences, they observed a fascinating phenomenon, a dramatic decrease in the activity of the brain's default mode network. This is the very network that constructs our sense of a separate narrative self, the inner voice that constantly tells us who we are based on past memories and future anxieties. When this network goes quiet, the brain's perception shifts. The sense of being a walled-off individual dissolves, replaced by a state of oceanic oneness, of profound connection to everything. The mystic doesn't just believe in this state, their entire being is oriented toward its direct experience. Yet the path to this union often leads through a desolate landscape. Many mystical traditions speak of a dark night of the soul. A more gentle way to understand this is as the winter of the ego. It is a necessary season of profound emptiness, of feeling abandoned by God and by life itself. It is not a punishment or a sign you are lost. It is a sacred fallow period. It is the ego's winter, where the structures of the false self must freeze and crumble away, so that when the spring of true awakening arrives, a vaster, more authentic consciousness has room to be born. Does silence, for you, sometimes have a quality to it that feels more alive than any sound? Have you ever had a moment, however fleeting, where the boundary between you and the world around you seemed to shimmer and disappear? This could be the gravitational pull of the mystic within you, beckoning you home. So a crucial understanding dawns. You are not required to choose one of these identities. You are not solely an oracle, a shaman, or a mystic. You are the sacred vessel that contains all three. Think of it as your soul's executive team, your own inner council. These archetypes are not competing for control. They are designed to work in synergy, each bringing an indispensable skill to the mission of your life. Your inner oracle is your strategist and navigator. It is the part of you that sees the grand chessboard, that reads the invisible currents of the future, and that whispers warnings and opportunities before they become obvious. It deals in patterns, probabilities, and purpose. Your inner shaman is your field engineer and chief medical officer. This is the part of you that is grounded in the felt reality of the present moment. It monitors your energetic systems, scans your environment for harmony or discord, and guides you toward what nourishes and heals your body, your heart, and your connection to the web of life. It speaks the language of feeling and somatic intelligence. And your inner mystic is your specialist in quantum communications. It is the part of you that maintains the secure open channel to source, to the divine, to the core of existence itself. The mystic is not concerned with strategy or even with healing, but with the ultimate why. It provides the unconditional love, the profound sense of peace, and the unwavering certainty that you are part of something vast, intelligent, and eternal. The problem is that for most of our lives, this council has been in disarray. Our society has trained us to listen to and reward only one member, usually a very specific utilitarian aspect of the oracle. We are taught to be strategic, to plan, to analyze, to predict outcomes for material gain. The other voices have been ignored, devalued, or silenced. But the soul will not be silenced indefinitely. That persistent low-grade anxiety you feel, it may be the frantic signal of your inner shaman, warning you that your energetic circuits are overloaded and you are nearing burnout. That gnawing sense of emptiness even when you have everything you thought you wanted, it is likely the cry of your inner mystic, starved for a genuine connection to meaning and wonder. That creative block or feeling of being stuck, it is your oracle, refusing to strategize for a mission that is no longer aligned with your deepest truth. Your spiritual awakening, then, is the process of calling this council back into session. It is the act of learning to turn down the external static so you can finally hear the distinct voices of your own inner sages. The goal is not to have them all speak at once, but to develop the wisdom to know who to turn to for what, creating a balanced and collaborative inner government. And this is where every thread of our investigation converges into a single, world-altering revelation. This journey through the archetypes, this deep dive into your soul's blueprint, was never just about self-discovery. Your awakening is not a personal self-help project. It is a planetary reactivation. For generations, we have lived within the deafening noise of the age of static. The systems we built have pushed us to the brink environmentally, psychologically, and spiritually. And now, at this critical juncture in human history, the deep intelligence of life itself is responding. The planetary consciousness, if you will, is beginning to activate its dormant assets. It is waking up its field agents, those souls who carry the ancient codes of the oracle, the shaman, and the mystic. And you are one of them. Every struggle you have endured, every moment you have felt broken, every ounce of pain you have processed, it was not a punishment. It was your training. It was the defragging of your system, the stripping away of social malware so that your original core programming could come back online. You had to become exquisitely sensitive so you could detect the subtle frequencies of this new consciousness. You had to feel the pain of the world so you would be motivated to help heal it. The profound loneliness you have felt is not proof that you are isolated. It is the experience of being one of the first nodes in a new network to be switched on. For a time, you send out a signal into the darkness, wondering if anyone else is out there. But your very activation sends a ripple through the web, making it easier for the next soul and the next to wake up and connect. You are not an anomaly, you are a catalyst. Therefore, your mission was never to find a way to fit back into the old, dying world. That would be a catastrophic waste of your purpose. Your mission is to hold your frequency, to honor the wisdom of your inner counsel, and to become a living, breathing node for a new network of consciousness that is being woven right now across the globe. Let this truth land in the very center of your being. You are not a misfit. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are mission critical. You are the response team. You are the quiet dawn that breaks after the world's long and troubled night. Theory is a map, but experience is the territory. Let us now transform this knowledge of your inner counsel from a beautiful concept into a living, practical tool. This is a simple but profound protocol you can use anytime you face a challenge, a decision, or a moment of uncertainty. All you need is a pen and paper and a few moments of quiet. First, take a clean page and create 3 columns. At the top of each, write one of the archetypes: Oracle, Shaman, and Mystic. The first step is the identification. Before you write anything else, simply look at the 3 words. Quiet your mind, take a breath, and notice your body's response. Which name seems to call to you? Which one creates a feeling of warmth, of familiarity, of a quiet yes in your heart? Circle that name. This is not about which one you think you should be, but about which one feels most like home right now. This is likely your dominant or most active council member. The second step is the consultation. Now, bring to mind a single challenge or question you are currently facing. It could be about your career, a relationship, or your spiritual path. Hold that question in your mind. Then, one by one, pose it to each member of your council and listen for their answer. Don't force it. Write down the very first thing that comes. The oracle's answer might arrive as a symbol, a metaphor, or a sudden flash of insight about the future. The shaman's answer might be a feeling in your body, a sense of expansion or contraction, or an instruction related to nature or your physical well-being. The mystic's answer might be a simple, profound truth that cuts through the noise, a feeling of deep peace, or a reminder of what truly matters. The final step is the integration. You now have 3 distinct pieces of intelligence. Look at them together. Do not try to pick the best one. Instead, look for the theme that connects them. The wisdom is not in any single answer, but in the synthesis of all 3. How does the oracle's strategic insight, the shaman's somatic guidance, and the mystic's ultimate truth work together? Often, they will point toward a single, elegant path forward that your rational mind alone could never have conceived. This is not a one-time exercise. This is a practice of lifelong dialogue with the deepest parts of yourself. You have an inner council of profound wisdom waiting for you to consult them. All you must do is ask, and then have the courage to listen. And so we arrive, not at an end, but at a true beginning. You are not here to follow an ancient map. The paths of the oracles, shamans, and mystics of old were carved for their time, for their world. Your sacred task is not to retrace their steps, but to leave your own soul's unique signature upon this one, a signature that is written with the visionary ink of your oracle, the compassionate touch of your shaman, and the boundless connection of your mystic. The great theologian and civil rights leader Howard Thurman gave this timeless guidance. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. This awakening, this inner council you are now assembling, is precisely that. It is the process of your soul finally, fully coming alive. The greatest gift you can offer to this noisy world is not to have all the answers. It is to become a living embodiment of your deepest, most sacred question. In a culture starved for wonder, be the quiet evidence that magic is real. Be the living proof that the soul always remembers its way home. Our tribe finds one another through resonance. To strengthen this emerging network, share in the comments below. Which member of your inner council spoke loudest to you today? Let us witness and honor the profound wisdom that is awakening in each other.